Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Toonami Squad podcast sessions. I'm your host, Sam, at Sam's3299. With me today, we got the other Sam.
Hello.
We got Phantom.
Yo.
And we have Logan.
Howdy.
And wow, there's a lot of stuff to talk about. This is what happens when we take too long. This is what happens when we take too long in between episodes. And it's ironic because the last one that we did, I was purposely trying to be quicker about that so we wouldn't have a lot to talk about. And
so yeah, let's make this snappy. Let's go.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so usually first up, what are we watching? And guys, I'm sorry. I watched Fate.
After saying you would never be stupid enough to do it.
Wow. I hate those tweets. I made a bunch of those tweets for some reason. I don't know why. I thought it was being cool. Memes. It was because I watched a good chunk of that shit.com Access TV anime hour.
NFT hour.
And, yeah, that. And they were giving Fate on there, but then I lost access to the service that I used to watch that. And then I was just like, well, let me just watch it since I technically started it. So I saw all of Unlimited Blade Works. And it's funny because I said I'm only going to see Unlimited Blade Works because I know there's a million other Fates and all that. And then I was like, wait, so there's multiple branches of this guy hooking up with two other girls? Okay, now on to the Heaven's Field movie trilogy. Okay, now on to the 2006 adaptation, which is supposed to be the Saber Root. And I'll soon be starting Zero. I just gotta say, because it's just like, I know this is based off like a erotic visual novel, but it's just like, damn, these people, like, when I was seeing the Unlimited Blade Works, I'm like, wow, they can't even freaking hold hands. Wow, they're supposedly a couple, and yet they really do not look like one. And then I move into Heaven's Feel, and I'm starting, and I'm like, oh, wow, what are they gonna do? Hold hands? And then, oh wow, she's on top of him. Okay, I see.
Okay,
so that's how that's gonna go. And then 2006, and I'm just like, okay, we're back to this again. Point is,
I'm still waiting for you to tell me how it ties into Sonic 06.
It turns out that the fire that ravaged that town that what's his name suffered when he was a kid. Turns out that was the flames of disaster. It was the Iblis trigger who caused it. So Sonic caused it. There we go. That was the tie-in.
Of course.
And then so yeah, saw Fate. And then just keeping up on the simulcast, and there's a lot this season. There's too many shows this season. It's good and bad. Licorice Recoil is temporarily back in the form of little shorts that they give once a week. Only six of them though. They just dropped the fifth one this week, and we're already one more. And it's just like, the best girls are back, but they're only back for like 2 to 3 minutes a week, and they're already about to be gone. I'm hoping, like, please, for love of God, I get a second season. Let's see, Gundam Quux. Is that how you say it, Logan?
G-Quux.
Yeah,
G-Quux. Yeah, that is really good. And also, wow, this is a Gundam show, and yet for some reason it is about 3 horny teenagers. Where have I seen this before? Fire Force Season 3 is back, and I'm watching it because Toonami's not going to play it for obvious reasons. And then Yaiba Samurai Legend, that is really good. For the love of God, with Toonami, please air that. It's a Viz Media show, so they can do it. And a big surprise, I gotta say, 2B Hero X. Like, I legit heard nothing about this, and I was just like, well, you know what? Let me check out that first episode, and oh my God, that's an amazing show. And every episode has somehow been mind-blowing. It's insane.
I really got to pick that up because I completely discounted that show just because I worked on the previous 2 entries and they were just completely off the wall, like weird shit. And yet everybody is telling me that 2B Hero X is so good.
Yeah, it is a really good show. I still need to watch episode, is it 6?
Yeah, it's 6.
Yeah, I still need to watch that.
I legit thought it was the same studio that did Arcade League of Legends, and no, it's not.
No.
And that's insane that they managed to get that amount of quality while mixing different styles. Other than that, let's see. Witch Watch. That's one of those like comfort or guilty pleasure shows for the season. It's not terrible. It's really good. But it's just like it's one of those shows that's just there, in my opinion. Go Loser Ranger, second season, that's back. And My Hero Academia Vigilantes, spin-off to My Hero that we probably will not see because crunchy bastards. But it is really good, really good. I know a lot of people say that Vigilantes is better than the actual mainline story, and I kind of see that. I don't want to say it is, but I kind of see what they're getting at. And believe that's it. There's another show called Takamine, but I'm not going to get into that for obvious reasons. Logan knows.
Save the After Dark podcast.
And that's it for me. What about you, Sam?
So I've been watching Gundam G-Quux. Great show. To Be Hero X. Another great show. Yaiba, which surprised me because I was not expecting a whole lot out of it, but is been surprisingly a very fun Saturday morning-esque cartoon. And then Lazarus. And that's basically what I've been watching this season.
All right, Phantom, what about you?
All right. So I've been on that King of the Hill binge, I tell you what. And just like Sam too, I'm also watching My Hero Academia Vigilante, a little bit of a Windbreaker, fully coolly reanimated. I really enjoyed that, actually.
I completely forgot.
I'm sorry?
Oh no, I was just saying I completely forgot about Windbreaker. Yeah, that's good too.
Kind of nice that Toonami gave them a shout out, especially on air. Andor Season 2, catching up on that. Then The Thunderbolts, really good Marvel movie. And got me the popcorn bucket.
Nice.
And lastly, since I've never seen this in theaters, but I've only seen it on DVD, is Star Wars Episode 3: Revenge of the Sith. Nice of them to re-release that movie.
Oh man, I remember when that movie first came out into theaters.
Yep, I remember lining up for that movie for God, it had to be 9 or 10 hours before the midnight premiere.
I remember my mother taking me to an encore showing at a random weekday.
I do not remember anything because I don't even remember the movie itself because I was was it 2005? I was 7, I want to say.
Jesus, I just felt my back go out.
If it makes it feel any younger, I was 9 years old.
I never saw this in theaters, but I did read the book that came out for it. But mostly binging King of the Hill since a new series for that is coming out soon on Hulu.
Yeah, that's in 2 weeks. I saw it. I didn't realize it was that soon.
Really?
2 weeks? I thought it was sometime over the summer.
That's what I thought too. But I had somebody say that they were we're 2 weeks out from new King of the Hill episodes. So either she's got the date wrong, or I don't know.
Stage.
That would be really weird.
Basically, Google's telling me it's summer 2025 release window.
Okay, so because they put the new poster out today, and it didn't have a date on it. You'd think, if it was coming out soon, they would probably be talking about a date really, really soon. Yeah, that's okay. So she's just insane. Okay, well, luckily she doesn't listen to this podcast. So I don't have to worry about her knowing I just called her insane.
Yeah, that's about it. Yeah, that's about it.
Okay. Logan, what about you?
So obviously, along with everybody else watching G-Quux, which, good. solid. The last 2 Gundam shows have been very solid. I'm really liking what Sunrise has decided to do, so that's been good.
I wasn't like the biggest fan of like the second season of Witch from Mercury, but other than that, like I've been really enjoying the direction they've been going with that series.
It's just been nice that they've been trying to experiment and do stuff differently. I mean, Iron-Blooded Orphans was different too, but like
it was a good different.
Especially, but like especially giving us like especially the last 2 shows having female leads. That's been a nice change of pace. And just I mean and especially teaming up with Studio Kara for G-Quux, like
that show was just teetering itself up for the critics. You got Tsunamaki directing, Ano as a supervisor. God, like I already knew that thing was going to be like one of the more popular shows of the season.
Well, and it's so funny with Ano because it's like, okay, he did Shin Godzilla, he did Shin Kamen Rider, he did, the Shin Evangelion movies. So of course, he was involved in Shin Ultraman. So it's like, oh, what's the next like project that he's a fan of that he's going to get to reboot? And it's like, oh yeah, he actually like, even though he's not, doing all of it, like he did some of the basic outline stuff. And it's like, okay, yeah, it's literally Shin Mobile Suit Gundam. Like, it's definitely an interesting direction, and I'm really hoping that it's going to end up being like a split season thing, and they're just trying not to like, reveal that too soon, because it's like we're already halfway through the season, and it's like I want more already, even though we've still got 6 episodes. It's like I want more.
7,
so
I think.
It's either 6 or 7, but either way, I'm really hoping it's just going to be a case of like they're doing the split core thing that is obviously so popular lately. So, and I mean, you think about it, they did that with Witch from Mercury. It didn't have a very long window between them, but hopefully that might be the case. I mean, we see it all the time. Look at Don to Don. That's
season 2 technically.
Yeah, so hopefully we'll see what happens. And the Sunrise is maybe just trying not to, blow the reveal too soon. So
with Don, it sure felt like a split arc because they stopped like right at the beginning of a new arc.
Right.
To honest, like yet again, I strongly feel like that was supposed to be 1 season. That last minute they decided, hey, it's 2 seasons now.
Let's see. Other stuff I'm watching for work. I'm watching. I've watched the first half and about maybe another 10 episodes past that of Looking for the Full Moon. We're releasing it at Animego, and thankfully it's already been announced, so I can talk about it. We did manage to recover the entire dub. Viz had only ever released up to episode 28, and it was long rumored that they had fully dubbed the show. And when it streamed, it was only subtitled, but the streaming masters had credits in English, and they had characters that would show up in episodes that were like exclusively after episode 28, and they had casts listed, but we were like hunting it down, and the studio, like the dub studio originally said they didn't have it, Viz didn't have it, the animation studio didn't have the dub, and through some just lucky breaks, turned out somebody at Ocean still had a copy of it, and so we were able to recover the dub, and we're going to end up including that. But that show's been fun. It's kind of what if a magical girl got her powers because she has cancer and she's going to die in a year, and two Shinigami decide to basically, before they take her life, make her life better. And so she turns into a magical girl, but instead of like fighting crime, she's a singer.
It sounds like idol version of Madoka Magica.
Kind of, yeah. It's actually really good. Like it's one of those shows that I wouldn't seek out on my own normally, but because I'm working on it, I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna end up watching it as a result. And I'm like, oh, this show's actually really good. Like I quite like this. So that was pretty good. The first half of it comes out, I think, in August. So, and then I saw Thunderbolts and The Accountant 2 did a doubleheader movie day on Sunday. That was pretty good. Both of them were. Thunderbolts was a nice change of pace from the last few Marvel pieces of mediocrity that they've shat out, and when the studio said they're like, this is our recommitment to quality over quantity and all that, and it's like, you know what, it shows, so keep it up.
And they're still putting out a shit ton of quantity of stuff, but I mean, a little higher quality.
I mean, if all that stuff is stuff that was in the pipeline, and they're they're making progress towards focusing back on the quality, Thunderbolts is a good indicator that they're on the right track. So I'll give them that.
Okay. Well, the main event for me is Fantastic Four, so I'm just waiting for
that. And then Accountant 2, if you've never seen the first Accountant movie, solid action movie. I actually had never seen it. I watched it the night before I saw the second one because my dad and I were seeing Thunderbolts because I wanted to see it, and then we were seeing Accountant 2 because he wanted to see it. And so I watched the first one the night before, and definitely can recommend both movies. Second one wasn't quite as good as the first, but they are definitely solid movies.
Mm. Yeah, I saw the first Accountant, God, forever ago.
Yeah, it's been 8 years since the last one came out, or 8 or 9 years.
Wow.
So
yeah,
the movie itself mentions like 8 years since the last, since the events of the first movie. So yeah, it's been 8 or 9 years since the first one, and it's like, holy shit. And I was surprised they didn't make a second one sooner, just based on seeing the first one. But better late than never, I guess.
I don't think this was out by the last podcast, but I did see that teaser trailer for the new Naked Gun. I actually kind of want to go see that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry. As soon as they did the OJ joke, that sold me on these guys understand the assignment.
Anything else?
No, that's it
I
for
watched
me.
the trailer for Superman.
Right.
That Superman.
Superman. I will see that day one. Well, probably like first week it's out, but yeah.
Mm-hmm. One other thing I really quickly forgot to mention is, I saw Thunderbolts and I saw Revenge of the Sith. I won't get too deep into those. I really like Thunderbolts. It was definitely one of the better MCU
Should we say
movies
the actual
recently.
title?
No, just to be safe.
Okay.
And then I've been watching the new season of Last of Us because that came out. Oh, I was waiting for this. Like, it's just so funny that people thought they were gonna change that, and I'm like, no,
why?
Bro,
that's crucial to the storyline.
Yeah. And so far, it's been doing a really good job of adapting, the Ellie story, because they already confirmed season 3, which I'm pretty sure season 2 is the Ellie side, and then season 3 will be the Abby side. Yeah, and I've been showing that to my mom, and she's invested too, although she does not like what Ellie's doing currently, and I'm like, yeah, she doesn't. It doesn't look pretty. That's how it was. Trying to
get to the Abby side.
What was I gonna say? And then just some of the, because obviously with adaptations it's not one-to-one. I do like some of the changes that they do compared to the game. But yeah, so far season 2 of Last of Us is spectacular. It's 2 episodes left, and I can already see where they're gonna break before season 3,
and then it'll be a 2-year wait for season 3, and then by that point they'll put out a remake of The Last of Us Part 2.
No. They're gonna do a special new complete version, not the one that they have now, but a complete edition where they're gonna combine both games, and it's gonna be for the PS6 or something. But
and then don't forget they'll remake season 1 of the show with a new cast.
All right.
And we'll launch it on HBO Max.
HBO Max. You heard that right. Not Max. HBO Max.
Fucking clowns run this goddamn company. Anyway.
Move on.
All right. So let's actually start getting into our topics. So we got a lot of stuff to talk about. Oh my god. But let's start with the first one, which is, guys, we have a new original out. We are, I want to say, halfway into it already, and so far they have not introduced CG mechs
yet.
Yet.
Yeah, there's still time.
There's still time. We have 7 more episodes left.
But yes, Lazarus. That's finally out after what felt like a while, and not only that, but it also kind of felt like this dangling, ominous presence over our heads, considering how the other originals went. So we're just looking at it like, oh.
I mean, but to be fair, do any of the originals feel like they're taking a long time after Uzumaki took so long? Like, did any really feel like
outside of like Uzumaki, like all of them have been relatively quick turnaround since their announcements. I think the last time that they announced something really early was like Blade Runner, and that was 2018, and that came out in 2021. So that was like a 3-year wait.
Yeah. When did they announce Rooster Fighter? That was last year, right?
That was last year.
Okay, yeah. So that's nowhere near like taking forever yet. So
yeah, no. Uzumaki is like the only one that ran into a ton of problems, which we all know.
Yeah.
But yeah, so as of this video, or as of this recording, we are up to 6 episodes, and I will say I am impressed. I like the show, and I am enjoying it. I don't think at this time that it's like, a landmark, or I don't know the right term, but essentially like I'm still keeping my expectations in check for this show, if I'm being honest. But I am pleasantly enjoying what we have so far. In fact, the latest episode 6, I want to say that's my favorite so far. I really liked it, mainly just because like it wasn't too heavy with the action, and we got some actual like good character moments, especially for Elena, who I kind of felt like she really had nothing other than hacking skills.
Yeah, it's like that was a main complaint. Like this is a complaint that other reviewers had with what was shown for the first 5 episodes of the show, and I think I brought it up in my review, which is like, I wish they did a little bit more of giving more background to these characters. They kind of give little hints here and there, but this is like truly the first time that they're focusing on more characters than just Axel. And
yeah,
I think my problem is that episode 6, I think it's a good episode, but my problem is that it doesn't really have a whole lot to say about cults or religion in general. It's kind of feeling like an amalgamation of everything in between. And you don't really see the whole Lazarus cast. Like Axel and the rest of them don't really have a whole lot to do in that episode. It's just primarily Elena and Lele.
Well, to be fair though, they've done a lot of stuff in some other episodes. Well, Elena and Lele.
Yeah, but it does feel like the kind of pointless to have them in that episode at all. Like they could still be in the episode for sure, but at like the end when everything is at a climax, right? They kept going back and forth. Like it feels like they're trying to have plot dumps of explanations of what that cult is and where it all started and how they created everything. Like that's cool, I guess, but you could also tell that naturally through the story you're trying to tell. It feels like this episode is kind of, to me, one of the more weaker episodes, and one of the weaker aspects of Lazarus is that it feels like it wants to have its cake and eat it too, where it wants to tell a serialized story, but also be episodic in nature. And I don't know if it really skirts that line very well.
Well, and like to me, the biggest problem I see with it is it feels like it's trying to have a 26 episode story on a 13 episode budget.
That's true too.
So like, just like Vampire Princess.
Yeah, like that.
I mean, like
feels like the thing is you can do that, but that's where you get the problem of it's like when it feels like you're spending an episode that feels kind of like it's meandering in a sense. Like, okay, that's fine. You can afford to do that when you've got a longer series order. But if we're not doing a season 2, then it feels like, why are we wasting time on this when, like you said, it can, there are other ways to more organically integrate that without it feeling like you're wasting one of your episodes.
Yeah. And that was like the main issue that I had with this episode in particular, because it felt like not a whole lot was accomplished. Whereas like the previous episodes, it does feel like they're trying to accomplish something. This one in particular felt like I literally learned nothing. We didn't advance the plot.
Yeah, the problem
you
is
don't learn anything more about Dr. Skinner than what we've already been given as a viewer. It just feels like a completely pointless episode that's only exists to like give background to one of the characters, and that's fine and all, but the way that it's handled, it could have been done a lot better.
Well, and when one of your central conceits is that you're basically your plot is based around a ticking clock, doing things that feel like they're wasting time they don't service the plot the way they should. Like, yeah, there might be good information in there or character building or whatever, but when your audience is supposed to be coming at this going like, okay, we have a deadline to hit, we have to get this done by this point or shit's gonna hit the fan.
Yeah.
Then when you spend an episode just dicking around, it's like, well, come on, like where's the hurry? Where's the motivation?
Yeah, and honestly, I don't mind them like taking it slow for a week, but it's only if we are getting something substantial in the episode itself, and that's just not what we got this week.
Right. Well, and then of course the biggest problem is, when we circle back when the show's over and go, okay, now we've seen the entire show. If we get something, 4 or 5 episodes from now that it's like, oh, they rushed through this in 5 minutes when it would have been really nice for them to let it breathe. That's when you look back at an episode like this week and go, this was a miss. Like, wasn't bad, but overall in the service of the broader plot, it may end up being a miss. It may end up being that we find out, we go, okay, getting a breather after the first 5 episodes wasn't a bad thing. But at least, based on what we have now, it's, I'm leaning more towards it was a miss, but we'll see.
Yeah, and like reading up reviews, I'm not as negative as like Anime News Network because they've been like ripping that show.
They've been harsh on it.
Like I don't get it. I can disagree with their points. I think that they do bring up some great points. Like the characters do feel a little underdeveloped at points, but I also I'm willing to give the benefit of the doubt because A, they can continue to explore these characters more within the remainder of the episodes, but I hope it's less this and more naturally explaining more about these characters while also furthering the storyline that we're getting.
Well, and I mean, like you said about, the reviews, Anime News Network is being pretty harsh, but frankly, most of the reviews have annoyed me to no end because it's like, stop comparing it to Bebop.
Oh yeah, I
was literally
so much.
To be Bebop.
I was literally saying that last podcast that I was worried that people were gonna try and paint this as Bebop 2.
Yeah.
And what do you know? Bebop 2. It's even more
if I were to compare this to musical genres, because every Watanabe show has some type of comparison to musical genres, is that Bebop is blues and jazz, Samurai Champloo is hip hop, Dandy is disco, and Carol and Tuesday is pop. I would consider this like trip hop, where it's a lot more lo-fi, low-key, and you hear that in like the music itself. It's a combination of like low-key jazz, but also like electronic beats, and that's totally what trip hop is.
Yeah, it's just like I said, just the constant comparisons to Bebop. It's like, again, it's not to say that you can't go like, hey, this reminds me of, this episode of Bebop, or, this scene in Bebop. Like, because of course, you're dealing with the same director. Go look back at any of his other shows. I mean, Dandy excluded to some extent because it has direct references to Bebop in various ways. But like, you look at his shows and it's like, okay, of course it's Watanabe's the director. He's got a style. It's going to show in his shows in the same way. So of course you can go, this reminds me of something from Bebop, but at the same time you should be able to also go, oh well, this reminds me of something from Champloo, or this reminds me of something from Dan.
And I think
and the problem is they just, everybody seems to be fixated on Bebop, and I get it. It's his most landmark series, but like,
and I will say, like, I do think Toonami did the show a bit of disservice by trying to say it is Bebop. Like, well, they didn't specifically say that, but
I was annoyed.
I get why they said Bebop, because it's been, what, 5+ years since they last ran Space Dandy. They haven't ran Samurai Champloo since 2016, but if you're a viewer and you've been a long-time viewer of not only Toonami but Adult Swim, you should probably know what those shows are at this point.
Right.
So you could have made a direct comparison, like from the creator of Cowboy Bebop, Samurai Champloo, Space Dandy is a new
He literally
original.
said, if you like Bebop, then this will be up your alley.
Yeah, like, I get why you want to compare it, like, why, because Bebop was the more recent thing. That was the last Watanabe show that they ran. But
and I mean,
again,
you know, like to an extent, you know, there are understandable comparisons.
Oh,
you
for
know,
sure.
It's the ragtag group thing, and I mean, and again, you know, that's something you could say that Dandy
but it's
had.
like, but
you know,
the thing
so-
is, like with Cowboy Bebop, everyone on the Bebop is running from their past, whereas
Right.
this one seems a little bit more interested on keeping these characters mysterious and then slowly revealing more about them as the series goes on.
Right, but I mean, you know, and that's the thing is, like, you know, I understand, and really, you know, going from the creator of Cowboy Bebop, like, everybody does that. I mean, you know, the when the Speed Racer movie was produced, it was, you know, from the creators of The Matrix.
The Matrix, yeah.
You know, and so, like, I understand, you know, of course, you're going to advertise using the most popular thing that a creator has. Like, I totally get doing that, but that's where the comparisons, you know, at least on a broad scale, need to end.
Yeah, it's not like people compare Speed Racer to The Matrix, although that'd be funny.
And another thing, it's just like, because yet again, like, because this is a Toonami original, and this is another Adult Swim original that has been popped up into the eyes of more than just Toonami, is that people are also seeing Adult Swim attached to it, and they are immediately either writing it off or putting up massive red flags because of that. Like, I literally saw a video the other day titled The Adult Swim Problem, and the guy was saying, oh, he sees a new show by Watanabe and then sees Adult Swim and he's like running for his life and all that.
Which,
and
I mean, which that's an unfortunate stigma that's attached to it, and unfortunately, Adult Swim has no one to blame but themselves. I mean,
Yeah, and that's
frankly,
the problem.
if this show underperforms and Watanabe is upset because, you know, we know he was at least, you know, supposedly upset about Dandy not getting the kind of reception he hoped for, but like if he ends up upset by this, it's like, well, you know, I mean, I hate to say it, but you know, your wagon got hitched to Adult Swim and they brought a lot of baggage with them, you know,
Yeah.
and that's on them.
Yeah, and that is totally on them. I feel like if the shows that came out last year, they all were like fantastic shows, I think there would be a little bit more of like, oh, okay, I'll go into this with like a positive mindset, but that's not what happened.
Yeah.
Uzumaki,
I mean, I guess
that fell flat on its face, even though I don't think it was that bad. But and then Rick and Morty anime, that was total disaster, and then Ninja Kamui was very mediocre. So
I think if there's anything that, you know, we literally just talked about it, if there's anything that gives you a little bit of hope is that it's like, okay, you know, Lazarus may not be perfect, but it's at least solid. And that's kind of what you need. And like I said, we just talked about this with Thunderbolts. The last few Marvel movies prior to that had been pretty poorly received. And, you know, Thunderbolts isn't perfect, but it's an enjoyable movie. And it's like, okay, build on this, get you know, get yourself back into the saddle. And that's what we need from the Adult Swim originals is, okay, you've had a string of failures that have not given you a good look, and you've got a lot of baggage. This is your chance to step it up, and yeah, you're gonna have to convince the audience that has written you off to give you another chance. And that's where, you know, people like us come in, is that, you know, we have to try to convince people like, hey, you know, there's something here. And, you know, but again, that's where, you know, comparing it to Bebop does it a disservice, because it's like, you know, we're not going to people and going like, oh yeah, if you like Bebop, you're going to like this.
I wouldn't compare it to, like, I would more say, like, if you liked Carol and Tuesday and like Terror and Residence, I would probably say, hey, check it out. It might be up your alley.
Yeah.
I would never compare it to Bebop, even though, like, yeah, you could say like, oh, well, the opening's kind of reminiscent of Bebop, I guess, but not really. Like, this show really feels very low-key and low vibes, but also still wants to be frenetic and action-focused, and also still have a mystery behind it. it's going to be interesting how it all comes together in the end.
I guess the nice thing is that we're now past the point where the reviewers have seen stuff, and while yes, this
that's usually the landmine.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, yeah, this was a slower episode, but nothing about it really made me go like, oh, okay, this is why they cut it off in episode 5. Like, I can see why they would go, they wouldn't give you episode 6 just because this, if you were sending it to reviewers, this might have been kind of a note to end on.
Yeah.
But that's just from a review standpoint. Like, because then you'd have to go like, oh, do we give them episode 7? So I get why they end with 5 for the reviewers, but I think like I said, when I look at this from the sake of last week is where the reviewers stopped, and now we're here. This doesn't feel like a landmine. Like, this just feels like slowing down a little bit, and we'll see how things go next week.
Yeah. I mean, like, we'll see. Like, I guess they're at a beach in the next episode, which, I'm always down for seeing Chris in a bikini. So,
Hey, I mean, if anything, that's a good sign, because as we know, the beach episode is such a tradition in anime. We have to have it.
Of course, it's anime law. There has to be a beach episode in every show. There was one in Blue Exorcist season 1.
So, I don't know. For me, it's like I really am liking Lazarus, and I'm enjoying it. But it's like, it just like that's all I really have to say is that it's a solid show so far. And I mean, like, will it be more than that, or will it fall on its face? Who can say? I'm just still keeping my expectations in check. I really liked the last episode that they played, although like I do see some of the criticisms. I just like seeing like actual like character background, and also like they actually kind of seem like a family now, because when the end of the episode she was like, I can't sleep, can I stay with you? I like, hey, that's like some actual family bonding right there, I guess.
That's a heartwarming moment, but I just kind of wish I knew a bit more about Chris as a character. Because otherwise, it's just like, oh, that's a very sweet scene, and you do get the sense that there's a camaraderie for the group there. But I just want a little bit more with these guys.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't want to jump the shark, but it's like, if I wanted to make a prediction, like maybe they have a second season and they're just not saying it until it's over. Like who? I don't know. I just, like, at the very least, like, maybe this season ends and they haven't reached that 30 days yet. But at the same time, I think the last episode said 17 days.
Yeah, left. 17 days left. So they're clearly speeding it up. So.
Yeah. But I'm trying to think. Sorry,
I mean, I guess kind of my like, whole thing, looking at it, at least based on what we've seen so far, is, if you were to say, like, a year from now, Toonami's going to go ahead and put this on, 2/3 of the way through the block as a rerun, kind of, as a time filler, I'm going to go, okay, that's cool. Like, I'm good with that. I'll watch it again.
I am predicting they're going to,
based on what we've seen.
I am predicting they're going to put the subtitle version, like, in the end, like after it runs.
Sure,
probably.
And they might, but I mean, I'm just saying, like, when I compare it to several of the other originals and go, God, please don't put it back on, because I don't care. Whereas
I actually would watch Uzumaki again, but
like this isn't going to be like, the, hey, we can put Bebop on and I can click on it and watch whenever, or Samurai Champloo, any of those. Like, it's not going to be the kind of thing where it's going to have that sort of staying power. But it's also not going to be the kind of thing where if it shows up on the block sometime down the road, again, based on what we've seen so far, it doesn't feel like it's going to be like, oh God, here's 12 or 13 weeks of just a completely wasted time slot.
Yeah,
I'd watch Uzumaki again. That's fair, but like, again, based on what they have, and of course this is discounting the fact that several of them are no longer on the table at all. Many of them, if they showed up on the lineup, would be like, oh God, why? Whereas this definitely does not feel like, oh God, why?
We felt that way with when Fooly Cooley returned.
Yeah.
It's like, oh God, why are you doing this? Like, I know why you're doing this, but God, why this one?
So I just remembered, like, another thing that I've been noticing with the show, and I kind of agree, is that, like, there's a lot of the complaints that people are having is the dialogue and the dub, and the fact that, at least for us in America, the dub's kind of mandatory until they put out they're starting to put out the subtitled stuff, but it's a week. It's like a few weeks behind.
Yeah, I don't understand why they did it like that. I'm assuming that's a Japan decision, because
it probably is. Yeah.
And the thing is that, like, a lot of people are kind of complaining about the dialogue, on how it kind of feels trying to be too hard, and literally, like, I just saw, like, Gigax, like, 22, and that's the other thing too, like, people are actually talking about it, because I see it in, like, a bunch of, like, anime tubers, like, watch lists, and so some of the ones that I follow are actually being honest about the show and not writing it off like a lot of others are. Like Giga said that, like, the dialogue just feels like Marvel, like, at worst it kind of feels like Marvel type quips and all that. And I don't know, some of these lines, like, oh, we're like the Avengers or something,
we're superheroes.
We're superheroes.
I will say, like, the dub, I won't bash it. I will say it is a fine dub, but there are certain line deliveries that they could have done a better job on.
One other thing is that, like, oh my god, I don't know how to. I do not want to be that guy that wants to, like, shit on an actor or like put on their performances. I really do not like Jade Kelly is her name as an actress, because she's the same character. She's the same person who played Mari in Ninja Kamui Joe's wife, and I didn't even know her name, but the minute she started speaking as Hirsch, I immediately knew it was her, because she had that same freaking unfazed, stoic, like, just bland performance that she had in Ninja Kamui. The minute I heard that voice, it was the same actress. I looked it up, same actress. And I was just like, God, I don't know. Like, I do not want to be that guy to say that. I do not want to say you suck, but at the same time, it's like, I would love to see a better performance from you down the road. So please.
I mean, like, I never blame the actors. I always blame voice direction. Oh, no. So, I mean, that's no offense to. I mean, maybe Shannon Reed. I think he's the one behind the dub for this, which, it's better than what we have gotten before with other Sentai dubs, like what Ninja Kamui, Shenmue, fucking Rick and Morty the anime.
I mean, yeah, I'm probably harsh. Maybe she did act in something and she sounds good. To bring up a good comparison, a while back I mentioned that I watched all of Tokyo Ghoul, and I'm like, damn, the actor for Kaneki is going off. Who the heck is he? And I see it's Austin Tyndall. I'm like, wait a second, Ryo from Shenmue, the guy who plays the main character in a lot of these horny trash shows. I'm like, this is the guy playing Kaneki? I never would have guessed. And it's like, holy shit,
he does a good job in that show.
He actually can put a good performance. I was like, wow.
Well, and that comes solely down to, that's where the problem lies, on the shoulders of the voice director. Because if you get a voice director who just doesn't give a shit, you're not going to get decent stuff out of them. I mean, again, Sentai's known for some of these dubs where they do one take and they're like good enough, even if the person like completely misses the intended inflection in the line. It's like, one take and we're out of the booth, like we're done, like move on.
Yep.
And that's the thing, is if you get a good voice director, they can get this stuff out of these talents.
Yeah, and I will say for like Lazarus specifically, it is the better Sentai produced Watanabe show dub.
Yeah.
I have not seen the other one, so I really have no idea.
Kids on the Slope is a great show, just the dub's fucking terrible.
Yeah, I'm just like, I don't know. I'm just like, the dub is fine, but it's just like, can we please stop using Sentai? They never will stop.
No, because they're non-union and they're fucking cheap.
At the very least,
Warner Brothers being all anti-union and not wanting to pay actors.
At the very least, with Rooster Fighter, since that's a co-production with Viz, at the very least, I'm hoping Viz is the one handling the dub on that, because they can actually probably get a good studio.
Filmworks, and you will like it.
Yeah. Yes,
I would agree. Viz is probably a good shot for that one.
Yes, my comb is burning with rage.
My comb is burning with rage.
But
oh man, y'all are not going to be ready for Rooster Fighter whenever that airs.
Cock?
Phantom.
Cock?
Phantom, I was gonna ask you what's your impressions on Lazarus so far.
I have to agree with you with the dub. I have a hard time. Damn, I can't put it in words. It's just not grabbing my attention. Animation's fine though, but the dub's not catching my attention. But it did. I mean, somebody did talk about it. It's Kojima.
Oh yeah, I forgot. About that.
That's true.
Yeah, Kojima approved.
Yeah, I think Kojima said he was going to watch it week to week, which is something he doesn't do anymore. I believe that's what it was. Tweet or Blue Sky thing was.
It was one or the other.
I think he said that he was watching it week to week.
I mean, it's a good thing if he says literally anything about it that isn't just watched Lazarus.
Yeah, you already know like the impression that he watch it. Like I watched Uzumaki, and then he doesn't say anything else.
Yeah, like, I watched the Marvels. You have anything else to say, Phantom?
No. It's just okay. It's not the worst thing that came out of Adult Swim. It's just decent.
I mean, like, could it dethrone IGPX as the best Toonami original? That remains to be seen.
We'll see how it all comes together within the next 7 weeks. So,
oh boy, I cannot wait for them.
We said it during the what are we watching? I mean, I didn't expect To Be Hero X to be anything exciting, and here it is popping off like crazy. So who knows what this show could do? I mean,
for sure,
it could suddenly just blow our minds. Like
I will say, like with To Be Hero X, that show was fucking mind blowing from episode 1 up to where it currently is right now. So, but Lazarus, like it has great moments. There are great moments in the show, and I can definitely see the potential of it being amazing. It's just not quite there yet.
I'm just saying, like, I don't know if I'll regret this, but I was showing my brother the show, and considering that I ranted so hard when it came to Uzumaki of I try showing people these shows and then they end up falling off. So if I'm showing my brother this, it better be good, or else I'm just gonna say I'm sorry again. Yeah, I guess anyone else have anything to say on Lazarus before we move on?
Music is good.
Oh yeah, music
Yeah.
pops off. I can't believe we didn't talk about that yet. The music's so good. I gotta give it that.
Oh yeah, like Bonobo, Floating Points, and Kasami Washington. Brilliant soundtrack. And then you have like the Boo Radley's ending song. Like it's all great.
Yeah, that just reminded me. First off, they've never once like edited their openings nor endings, and yet here they are speeding up the endings to Lazarus. And also, oh my god, freaking jump scare when that Sola logo comes out at the end. I was just like, whoa, no. It was really like that Punisher moment. No. Wait. Yeah, freaking, oh god. He's just like, every time that Sola logo comes up, that's like jump scare.
Now you're gonna see it again when Rooster Fighter airs.
Oh god. There was something else. I just had something else and like I forgot. Oh yeah, I'm predicting that we're gonna get another marathon when the show ends, considering they did this whole half-season marathon. Now get ready.
They probably want to time these things out, because I would assume by the time that Lazarus completes, Primal will be ready to go by then.
I don't know. I mean, there's that Annecy festival coming up soon, so we'll probably get some news there, but I don't know. All right. Well, I guess we should move on. So this is the first piece of unexpected news that we got. We'll get to the other one, don't worry. But Toonami did a schedule update, and before recently, when we hear Toonami did a schedule update, we're just like, oh my god, no, oh no, no, wait. But this was something unexpected. We were getting a music movie, and I had to do some research on this because I was really like, who's Gingeroo?
So, Gingeroo is a Japanese American band.
Yes, I have the bio. I literally have his website right here. Editing films, videos, and other multimedia by day, and making music under the name Gingeroo by night. Cameron Liu fronts sounds that can be described as aggressive elevator soul, combining elements from contemporaries like Toro Imoi, Wolfpack, Metronomy, and Caro Bonito, with the influence of Japanese city pop in the days of Stax and Philly soul.
I kind of hear that influence actually with listening to Shin Bangumi, because I watched it today. The album, the music in the album, fucking fantastic. If I'm just judging it on music alone, oh, it's just great. I'm judging it on the special that aired. Not that great.
I mean, it fits in line with a lot of Adult Swim stuff, let's be real.
But like the way that it kind of transitions from like the scene, like the movie scene, to the music video, not like the greatest transition ever. Like, great, not everyone's going to be doing like the Thriller and shit like that, but you know, a little cohesion in your narrative goes a long way.
Yeah,
I mean, the thing I was immediately reminded of with it was, you know, when they ran Interstellar 5555.
I was gonna say make that comparison. It's kind of like that.
Yeah, that's the obvious comparison. I mean, you know, they're not super comparable otherwise, but like obviously, you know, there's kind of a root to it there. You know, I liked it well enough. I mean, I would agree that it felt a little disjointed in, you know, trying to connect the music together. Just it didn't, I don't know, it just didn't pop together.
It's just like what we go from, like a scene that's actually trying to explain the story, and then just randomly, here's the music video.
Right.
There's like natural transition over. Like you watch Thriller, there's this natural transition to the music video part of it, where you still see like everything going along with like the story it's trying to tell, but then you see Michael Jackson starting to sing and dance, and it's a nice transition from that to this. Whereas this, it's more like you get the visual effects and then you get the music video a part of it, which is kind of, it just feels very disjointed story-wise. It feels like it goes all over the place. I personally stopped caring at a certain point because it didn't seem very interested in like trying to tell its narrative seriously. It more or less feels like it was a vignette just to get you to the music, which I'm fine with if the music is great, which it is. So thankfully it's that.
So the thing is that before they aired it, I was doing research because I thought that the movie they played was something that existed before, and technically it did and it didn't. So like this movie that Adult Swim played is actually a compilation of videos that Gingeroo has on his YouTube, because when I was researching, I saw that he had a playlist on his YouTube called the Shin Bangumi Timeline, and each of those videos was essentially combined the movie like Shin Bangumi. So when Adult Swim played, because I watched a few of those videos, so when Adult Swim played it, I was like, okay, yeah, so my assumption was right, was that it's all those videos combined into a 40-minute special, essentially. And, and it aired on Toonami, and you know, I really love the music. I have some of his tracks in my playlist now, and I just found the story, if anything, more silly, because I'm just like I just find it as a funny background to get to the music and all that, which and it's also kind of funny, like this whole fictional setting of like, what if we cross America and Japan, and they united into one like district or whatever, and it's supposed like it's like a mix of 1980s Japan and America. And I always found it funny when like you had legitimate Japanese actors speaking and acting in Japanese, conversing with English characters, and they're actually speaking English, and yet they can just understand each other fluently.
Well, like, and that's one of the things I'll give it is like the visual tone that they went for. I liked, like the attempt at the story that was trying to link things together wasn't so great, but I did like the cinematography and the visuals they went for.
Yeah.
I did really like that.
I love the retro VHS look to it. I always love that aesthetic with shows and movies. Like, it's very like old school in its design, and I really appreciate that.
And then like the subtitles, where it was like they were the old school like closed caption style subs, and then doing the when people were speaking English stuff was subtitled in Japanese. Like I liked
that's a nice
it was
touch.
cohesive. It was cohesive with that. Yeah. So like I really liked the visual angle they went with. If they were to do something that was a little more cohesive with that same visual style, they could really be onto something there.
It's been a long time since I last listened to this album, but I feel like if it was a lot like Beyonce's Lemonade, where that was a visual concept album, where the whole entire album is basically just one music video after another. I feel like if it went more similar to that, I feel like I would be a little bit more receptive to it, because I don't really care about like the narrative it's trying to tell. And honestly, I don't really think they cared that much about it. Again, like it feels like just a way for them to transition you to the music video, but it's just, again, like how they handled it was just so clunky.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's also just a victim of like this initially being like a YouTube thing that got re-edited into a TV thing.
Yeah, this is also promoting an album that came out last year, so
apparently it's his first album, and I don't know how long, but like I was reading up on it, and it was like his first new album in a long time, and he wanted to like go all out with it and make like a mini movie and all that. And
the last
like,
one was in 2022. It was an EP.
Oh, I thought it was longer than that. And then I also know that like I didn't read too much, but I know he it's kind of like loosely based on like his past. Like I know Ginger Root, like I forgot his name. He's a Japanese American. And I think he was slow. I think he based the district off, I guess, from his from his past growing up, because I guess he, you know what I mean. But I mean, like, yeah, the movie was, I mean, I just found it fun. If anything, I wasn't paying too much attention to it. Now, here's my question. What was y'all's favorite track in there? For me, it was Only You. I liked
You was great. No Problem. That was also really good. The finishing song, that was pretty good. Really, the whole album's really fantastic if that was every song that they played on there. I wish there was like a track list, or maybe there was. I didn't really stay and watch all the credits, but
I had to look it up on iTunes.
Okay, so basically, I don't know all the tracks on there, but the album itself, like if those were all the songs that is on the album, it's fantastic. Like all the songs are bops.
There's a comment on the Adult Swim upload of it. And so, like, one of the comments says, for those who just want the songs, and it actually has like the time codes and the songs. And
thank you,
the person
commenter.
says,
you are literally the savior of everything.
Yeah. And they said, I don't think Welcome and CM were included. If they are included and I just didn't notice, please let me know. And then also lists the bumper music. All songs are also by Ginger Root, and said Shazam couldn't recognize the bumper song at the very beginning. I need help identifying it. And somebody says there's a couple of comments that say CM is in there, and Over the Hill was the bump at the beginning. So it's like, yeah, if you pull it up, while normally reading the YouTube comments is a fucking mistake, in this case, if you pull up the Adult Swim listing for it, because there's one that's on Ginger Root's channel YouTube, that seems to just be like a music, like it's just like a town model set or something with like a train running around it, and it's just the album. But yeah, if you pull up the actual one that Adult Swim uploaded a couple weeks ago, it has this, like I said, the comment has the track listing there.
All right, Phantom, what did you think of Shimbangumi?
I really like. I agree with Logan with the VHS aesthetic. Kind of wish I bought it, or kind of wish I got that pre-order for the VHS for that. And in terms of music, I like No Problems, All Night, and funny enough, I listened to Better Than Monday on like a random Monday or Tuesday. After watching the thing. But yeah, I think it was pretty solid.
It was kind of out there in terms of Toonami, but I'm actually kind of glad they aired it. And thinking about it,
I also like the every time before they go to commercial, they'll do a bumper for Adult Swim.
Yeah, and some people were pointing out that they're kind of like reminiscent of old AS Action bumpers.
Yeah,
because I guess like I didn't see Adult Swim Action, but like the bumpers for those would show like Tokyo aesthetic.
Kind of. Sometimes they would do that. Sometimes they would be snarky and write something on screen.
Yeah,
Or
like
the early days of Adult Swim Action, they had like what was it, the Apple speech to text thing,
right. Yeah, like I mean, it's definitely you can see sort of a like you said, it's reminiscent of that. Like I wouldn't call it 1-to-1 by any means, but like yeah, the bumps definitely do. I can see somebody going like, oh hey, this reminds me of that.
I will say a bump on like an upload on YouTube is kind of weird, especially how it's spaced out. Like, yeah, I get that this aired on television, but kind of rules are different when you apply it to like the internet. So I get it if you're trying to break it up by ads, but if you don't get ads on YouTube, either you're paying for premium or you have ad blocker on, it's kind of weird.
I mean, but at the same time, you could argue that, like, why does streaming anime keep the eye catches intact when there's no point in
That's true
those
too.
Because we're not breaking to ads during a stream. So, I kind of get it from that perspective.
That's true.
It's kind of funny because when Toonami airs anime, they cut those out.
Yeah.
Ironically,
Actually, I think didn't they keep the Full Metal Alchemist stuff in? I think they did.
I think they did in at least one airing, but then we lost all the Attack on Titan ones, which I kind of get, but at the same time, those were kind of a bummer because there's a lot of good information in those.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, even on Blu-ray, like with those, you have to pause to be able to read everything because they're only on screen for
5 seconds.
5 seconds, yeah. And there's like 2 paragraphs of details about where the Titans came from or some shit.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny though, because that's one thing that the Axis TV hour did, was they actually gave the eye catchers. The only one good thing they did, because I already mentioned past, like, fucking awful, like they butchered My Hero so bad. I don't know how it's doing now, but apparently they moved to Fridays now.
That's still on?
Really?
Apparently,
it feels like that conversation of that thing coming out just died immediately.
If there's one thing that NFT bros don't understand, it's when to quit.
I mean, I don't know if it's still on. I stopped paying attention to it, but the last I heard, it was that they moved to I think Fridays at midnight or 1 a.m. And the encore is Sunday. So it's you can already see the writing.
Like, there's a reason why Toonami's on Saturdays, because Saturdays is normally a pretty good night to have running stuff like that. Friday nights, you're still competing with not only just sports that go overtime, but also everything else. So that's that's not really great. Oh well.
All right. Anyone else have anything to say on Shimbangumi before we move on?
Adult Swim should try and find more stuff like that to do. Just maybe find something a little more cohesive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I really miss the days when we used to get music videos. So this is always welcomed.
Oh yeah.
It was always a tradition with Shippuden, because they always did it during Shippuden.
Yeah, because apparently they cut out the opening and ending, or sped up the ending. do they even air the endings sometimes? I think
they air the endings, but they're sped up, and only a select number of episodes. They're weird. Like some airings of Shippuden did have the openings, but a good chunk of them didn't. It was only.
I think towards the end they stopped caring, and they were like, "Yeah, we'll just run the opening."
Well, no, a few of the episodes near the end did run the opening, but they still cut it.
Oh yeah, I mean, of course, because originally at the beginning of Shippuden's run, they had like 30-second openers or something like that. So they did that because they weren't going to air the opening.
All right. Well, anyway, I guess we should move on. So we had a show end, Common Side Effects, and I saw the season finale back when it first aired on Adult Swim that Sunday, and that is a fantastic show, I gotta say. And it's greenlit for season 2, so I am so ready for more. It was, I just had it was like a roller coaster, if I'm being honest, because it's just like going all over the place, and some things I don't know how to describe it. I'm terrible with giving opinions, but I really love Common Side Effects. And fuck Hildy. All my homies hate Hildy.
Hildy is the worst.
And just also Nightmare Fuel for Jonas, which, I mean, bastard, I want to say he got what he deserved, but at the same time, he's still alive.
Yeah.
And yeah.
I mean, I'm curious to see where he ends up in season 2. Really, I'm just curious where the show goes from here. Common Side Effects. My God. Like, if we're talking about great shows that premiered this year, like, if I had a nickel for every time a Toonami aired a show about a miracle-curing drug and it's a commentary on the pharmaceutical companies, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it's happened twice.
In the same week.
But A Common Side Effects is probably one of my favorite Adult Swim shows that they've aired in a while. Like, this show is phenomenal.
How do we get whoever's picking shows like that to start figuring out what anime they should be making?
Exactly.
Right?
Listen, Jason, I clown on you with the Darth Disastrous stuff. Look, man, you've got good taste in anime when it comes to picking shows. You don't have good taste in making shows. I'm sorry, man. But, somebody at Adult Swim clearly does. Because, yeah, Common Side Effects, I actually haven't finished it yet. But what I've watched of it, I really like. And, yeah, those are the kind of shows that, when Adult Swim says we want to bolster our library with our own in-house stuff and, not entirely rely on acquired content, great, keep doing this kind of stuff, because this is the kind of stuff that's going to get people coming back.
Yeah, and I want to hope that maybe they kind of talk to their parent company and be like, hey, that show Scavenger's Reign? How about we air that and we'll fund more episodes of that?
That would be nice.
It's so funny how the Toonami had a special intro of oh, this is by the same creator of Scavenger's Reign. It was like, oh, that's cool. Why didn't you air it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The show is freaking fantastic.
Yeah, and it's such a split off, because when you watch Scavenger's Reign is pure sci-fi, very alien, very. I don't want to say Star Trek. What's the other?
Extraterrestrial.
Yeah, something like that. It's very unique sci-fi, and it's really brilliantly done. It's got great characters, it's got great drama, it's got fantastic animation, and Common Side Effects is a little bit more low-key, but it is really good at keeping the viewer engaged and hooked, and throughout its 10 episodes, it doesn't miss a beat, and that's really great.
And it's just kind of funny how this wasn't really meant for Toonami, and it only got added just because we literally had nothing else. And
I think they're right by saying, I think if you are a Toonami fan, you would like the show. And I think if you watch the show and you are a Toonami fan, yeah, I think most people would say, yeah, this was a really good show. It's not really a show typically they would air normally, but I'm happy they ran it. I think it's a perfect fit for the block.
Yeah, I mean, I think, when you look at, Toonami as a whole, obviously back in the day it was an action animation block. And, whether by necessity or by choice, the block has branched out. I mean, with the anime, we got, comedy stuff like Pop Team Epic.
I would even make the argument that even back in the day, Toonami experimented. Because you saw stuff like Hamtaro, which obviously that's stuff that was forced onto them by the network. But then you got stuff like Bobo, which was a very bizarre comedy show. And you had stuff like IGPX, which was something that they directly funded. So they've always experimented with different shows, even towards the beginning of their reboot. Dead Man Wonderland, Samurai 7, Casshern Sins, Hellsing Ultimate.
Oh, sure. Like, I mean, but it's basically just a case of like every time you look at a show and go, is this a fit for, Toonami as an action block? I think that's, that's something that, the block itself sometimes tries to be like, oh, we're an action animation block. And it's like, no, you really aren't. You're just an animation block. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, fine. If you want to focus on action as your primary, what you go for, that's great. But like the block itself needs to accept that it has not been strictly action for a very long time.
Well, yeah, for sure, and I do see that. And with Common Side Effects, like this is just a straight up drama. Like this is literally a drama show, and it's so wild to hear that. Sorry. It's wild for me to think like this came from Adult Swim, the same network that would make stuff like Super Jail and Ball Masters or King Star King, and this is like literally a show that's like, no, we want you to take this seriously. Like this is not a comedy. Like it has comedic moments, but it is very much trying to be dramatic, and it succeeds so much on that. Like with since I'm going to be vague here because there's a episode with Marshall and Francine, you probably know it. When you get to the end of that episode, you feel the heartbreak.
I think one of the hardest sells for it, at least based on when I originally saw like the promos and stuff for it, was the visual style.
I actually really love the visual.
Oh, and no, like that's the thing is like I like I think it services the show very well. Yeah, it's just there's something about it when you see it initially.
There's like, why do all adult shows look like
promotional
this?
You see promotional material for it, it might look like, oh, this is kind of low effort. It doesn't look incredibly detailed. But you actually sit down and watch it, it's like the animation is so smooth, and like the character designs are just brilliant. They're simple, they're memorable, and they stand out in a crowd. Like, it's all excellently designed.
Right, and that's basically, like that's what I'm getting at is
it's like a false sense of security.
Yeah, if you're on the fence about it, because I know plenty of people who, it's the same with people watching like old anime or old cartoons. They go, oh, this looks old, it looks weird, I don't like the way it looks. If you're one of those people that are looking at the promotional material for this and going like, I don't know, this looks cheap or weird, or give it a chance. Because and that's true of a lot of stuff, but like especially with this, there's so much to it that if you can just get over that initial like, what the hell am I looking at, you're giving yourself so much quality. And like I said, initially the visuals look kind of but when you actually get into the show, you're like, holy crap, the visuals service the show perfectly.
And I also think the most important thing to take away from this is that Hank Hill is technically a Toonami character now.
Mike Judge it's honestly very funny to hear Toonami say, from like executive produced by Mike Judge and Chris Daniels of King of the Hill. I'm like,
all right.
It's
very bizarre to hear that, but I mean, like, I do think Mike Judge stumbled upon the show brilliantly, because man, like he knows that he's found something very special, because he was talking this up in interviews. You see the creator talking it up, and it's like, no, you didn't just talk out of your ass. You actually delivered something really special.
Yeah. What was I gonna say? Sorry, I had something in my head and I just kind of forgot it. Phantom, what do you think of common side effects? Did you see it all?
I finished it all as of yesterday, actually. I was kind of off. I was kind of put off by the animation, but afterwards, I started getting comfortable after like episode 3. The plot, I really enjoy, and yeah, again, Hank Hill. I don't know what's going with it, but anyways, I really enjoyed the show. It was a surprise hit for me. Like that.
All right. Well, I guess before we move on, if anyone else has anything to say on common side effects,
Fantastic show. Please check it out.
Yeah, we're
right now it's like
season,
only 10.
So
yeah, it's got renewed for its second season, which is amazing. I'm very happy that Adult Swim. Well, I think Adult Swim knew that this was going to be successful for them because they started marketing it like way back last year. So they knew that they had something really special.
the big thing is, especially when the second season premieres, make sure you're watching it, because if you like it, a lot of shows live and die in their second season, because a lot of animation, when they go to a third season, that's when a lot of the like animation contracts and stuff kick in that like give the animators a raise and whatnot. So networks have to see like solid viewership if they're going to go through with that, because it's going to cost them more to make more episodes. So if you like it and you want more, watch season 2 and get people to watch it.
all right. Sorry, it's just sorry. My leg is like killing me right now.
Sam 2, edit that out.
Yeah, wow. Okay. So anyway, moving on, and I'm once again gonna be bending my rules a bit, because I always do things chronologically, but once again, I feel that this next thing that happened should be saved for last. So I'm gonna skip and talk about this first. But we had another schedule update, and boy, oh boy, was that a surprise! But we'll get.
Oh my god, we actually got content.
Oh my god, it's been 84 years.
But we'll get to the main one soon. But first, let's talk about Blue Exorcist, because so it's kind of funny because they reran season 1, and we're like thinking, okay, well, they have to be doing it because they're going to run season 2, right? But then as we were getting closer and the schedule was looking more dire, and then Mashal didn't come back, and we were like, there's a non-0% chance that they are most likely just going to run season 1. So we were actually kind of wondering, are they gonna run the second season of Blue Exorcist? And the answer to that is yes. So Blue Exorcist: The Kyoto Saga is coming May 17th, which at the time of this video is this Saturday. And I also wanted to use this opportunity to talk about the first season, because Jesus Christ.
Oh my god. I have thoughts, but I actually plan on writing an article, maybe make a video of it, but we'll see where that goes. I after rewatching it, I have like conflicting thoughts on Blue Exorcist. If I'm judging it just purely on the content that it adapted straight from the manga, it's good stuff, like really good stuff. But where it falls off for me is like when it goes into the anime only territory. Now, I'm not like against anime only storylines in shows, but man, you notice the quality drop like really fast when you get to the end. Like, holy shit. There is a reason why I forgot all those episodes at the end, because oh my god, that shit sucked.
Yeah, I fell off of it the first time it aired, and I have to be honest, it didn't really. I mean, where it goes into the anime original stuff, yeah, it lost me again there. And like that was the thing that I found after the first time I watched it, was I was like, okay, I relatively liked the stuff that was that was
Canon.
Properly adapted in canon, yeah. And then it was like, because I'm certainly not against anime original stuff. I mean, I've always liked the the back half of the original Full Metal Alchemist, where it branched off into its own thing.
Show.
Like that's the thing is just because it's anime original doesn't mean it suddenly has to be bad. But unfortunately, in Blue Exorcist case, that's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
It just
it's just kind of like hilarious to me to think about it now, because it's like 10 years ago, well, that's what you got, and it's
right.
But now, because they decided, well, we're actually going to go back and we're going to adapt the rest of it, or at least adapt the current arcs that are still going on. So that's it's kind of funny now, because it's just like, well, this is just all retconned anyway, so it doesn't really make or break your viewing experience. But as like a novelty of like what was the thing back in like, I think this came out in like 2011, 2012, something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
It's a kind of like a time capsule of like what anime was back then. Like there wasn't a ton of options for shows back then compared to now.
Yeah.
And typically a lot of like the stuff that was adapting from a manga that was still ongoing, which is kind of end, or it would go into anime only territory. You saw that with like Soul Eater, which I actually like the anime only stuff in Soul Eater. I still need to like go back and reread all of Soul Eater, because I remember really liking that when I was in high school. But anime original stuff does not automatically mean bad, because there could be stuff that like you saw in some of the filler arcs with Bleach and Naruto and even One Piece. Like it can bring more to character development that the original mangaka could not do. It's just you didn't see that with Blue Exorcist. Like all the characters just started acting different. They weren't acting like themselves.
Yeah, it feels like and maybe it's it's hard to say, because something like Full Metal Alchemist, that split off, after like 25 episodes or something like that.
Man, technically from like the beginning parts of it, it kind of is doing its own thing while also adapting parts of the manga. But
right,
yeah, I get what you're saying.
I guess it's the case of like the longer the anime team spends with the characters doing the canon stuff, I think makes it easier for them to understand the characters when they have to start writing their own stuff.
Yeah.
And it feels like they just didn't learn enough about the characters with Blue Exorcist, to the point that when they had to break off to their own stuff, like you said, everybody just started feeling like different characters. And it's like, okay, do you not understand the characters you've been working with? And it seems like they didn't.
It feels like they rushed it, because it feels like, oh shit, we ran out of manga material. Let's type this thing up real quick. It doesn't feel properly developed, and like a lot of the characters just feel off. Like you see like Yukio point a gun at Kuro in like one of the episodes. Like you're a teacher at like True Cross Academy. You teach young exorcists about good and bad demons. You should know that Kuro's not going to hurt people.
It's just the one that had me dying was that like this was literally like 2-3 episodes apart. It was
hold on a second. It's like I want to talk about the finale for a quick second, because it's like in that finale, Kuro takes Rin and Yukio, and I'm like, Kuro, this man pointed a fucking gun at you like a few episodes ago, and you're just be like, okay, fine, get on my back.
I'd like one of the funniest things I found was like in one of the last canon episodes, they're working to like save Rin from execution, and like I keep forgetting the guy's name, but he's the guy voiced by Kyle Hebert, and they're trying to tempt him, and they're like, why do you want to save him? He's the son of Satan. Satan killed your clan and all that. And he's like, well, the reason I want to save him is because I want to know why that bastard who's the son of Satan would want to kill his own father. I need to hear his answer. And then literally they save him, and then he's like, get out of our class. We hate you. You're the son of Satan. You shouldn't be here. We're not friends anymore. And it's just like, bruh. You just saved him. It's like, what the hell? It's funny because like we make comparisons to like Naruto Shippuden filler hell people, but the thing is, at least in Naruto Shippuden filler, the characters still felt like, you know, the characters.
Yeah.
Like it's not like Naruto all of a sudden was going to be level headed and make the easy decisions while freaking Sakura was making the dumbass, you know, decisions, or you know what I mean. But it's also kind of funny because I keep thinking back to when we did the tier list, and at the time I didn't see the show. So Sketch said, I thought this show was all right, and then they got to Good Guy Satan, and I was done. And then
I actually don't mind them doing that for Satan as a character. Like, there's many different interpretations of him as a character throughout history, through stories and all that stuff. So I'm not opposed to that. It's just him getting freaky with a human is kind of a.
I don't know her name, but I'm just calling her Asuna because she's voiced by Jeremy Lee.
I believe it's Yuki.
No, it was Yuri.
Yuri, I think something like that. Whatever.
But it was also just like the entire show they paint Satan as like, oh, this bad, evil, bad person who's like killed many clans and blah blah blah. Now you're gonna say, oh, all of a sudden he cared? It's like, what?
Yeah, his plan doesn't really make a whole lot of sense because it's like, well, if you want to like rebuild this world, why are you killing innocent people?
And the other thing I just found funny is now Yukio has blue flame powers, and it's like, what? And it's just like,
it doesn't make any sense either because it's already established in the beginning of the show that Rin got all of Satan's powers.
Oh, but it turns out Yukio has them latent or whatever. It's just like,
that's like something the writers pulled right directly out of their own ass.
But it's just like, I was just like, okay, you know, the beginning of Blue Exorcist, I see it, but then it's like, me as someone who's never seen the show, even I started to see the cracks that easily, and I never even touched the manga, but it's like I can already see. I already saw the downfall. So if someone like me can see it, who's had no prior history, I was just like, bro, this sucks. Yeah, by the end of it, I was like, this sucks.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I was actually putting off watching. I watched the finale today because we were going to talk about it today. So I'm like, fuck it, I'll just get it over with. And yeah, that finale was not great. Because ultimately, it's just like, it feels like just another standard episode. Like, it ends, it feels like they want to do more, but they don't do more. Which is fine, because later on they would do more, but they're just going to go by the manga. They're not going to do their own stupid thing, which is great.
Yeah, and that was like one of our worries was that are we getting season 2 or not? Because there's a more than 0% chance that we could not see season 2, and thankfully we are. Because I said that if they don't air season 2, that I'll watch it on my own time, but they are. So I'm like, okay, sticking with this. And now my question is, like, will we go past that? Like, will we see the third season? Because I know that. But yet again, that was also a recent thing, and I know for some reason Aniplex likes to get expensive on their recently released stuff.
Well, I mean, when did the first part of season 3 come out?
Season 3 came out January 2024, and then season 4, which was split in 2 parts, was October 2024, and then January of 2025 for the second half. So there was only like 3 weeks between the end of the first half and the start of the second half. So I'm not even sure you can call it a split, because it was more like the first half of season 4 ended on December 22nd, so it was basically just off for the Christmas and New Year's holidays, which is
it's interesting you say season 4, because on Crunchyroll they just label it as season 3 still.
Yeah, because it's season. I mean, I'm looking at Wikipedia. What they list as season 3, the Illuminati Saga, or Shimane Illuminati Saga, that ran from January to March of 24, and then Beyond the Snow and the Blue Knight sagas, those started in October of 24 and ran through till March of this year.
Knowing how Aniplex knowing how Aniplex has been about their more recent stuff, it seems like Toonami is on the we're gonna wait a couple of years until it's like cheap enough for us to acquire.
Yeah. So if we're gonna get season 3 and 4, which is another 39 episodes, 36, something like that. Yeah, 36. We're probably looking at like 2027 if we're lucky.
But at that point, I'll probably just watch it on my own.
The thing that surprises me about, at least with season 1, and maybe they did something like this. I mean, I'm not seeing any evidence that they did, but I'm surprised that they didn't do like a re-edit of episodes. I think it was 16 and 17 of the original first season that would kind of like remove any of the like anime original stuff and like sort of re-edit it into like a short movie that would prep it for like ignoring the rest of what was anime original to season 1.
I mean, that kind of sounds like too much work for them.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe, but I mean, I've seen plenty of other anime do that where they'll like re-edit an episode if they're setting something up. Steins Gate Zero does that, where the story branches off from the original show. In episode 23, they made technically they only redid like the final scenes of the episode, but they set it up so that there's an alternate version of episode 23 that sets up all of Steins Gate Zero's like plot line. And to me, I mean, because I'm looking at it, and again, I hate to keep making the comparisons to Full Metal Alchemist, but it's like, okay, Full Metal Alchemist was from 2004 to 2005, and then Brotherhood came out in 2009. So 4.5-5 years apart, and instead they while they didn't completely redo everything, they still, when they did Brotherhood, it was a complete adaptation with all the stuff in the beginning. And you'd think that with a gap between 2011 and 2017 for Blue Exorcist, you'd think that they would maybe redo something to relink that stuff and go like, hey, okay, watch episodes 1 through 15 and then watch 16 and 17 as this new re-edited special, and then move into season 2. I mean, I guess that's how I would have done it if it were me, but obviously I'm not the one in charge.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, like, I know
if it was an Aniplex decision, like, yeah, I'm sure they would totally do that. But considering they were just like, we'll let you license out the show again, and they're probably like, yeah, sure, fine.
Well, and to be fair, I don't necessarily mean like Adult Swim should have done it. I more mean that like Aniplex as a whole, in the production, even in Japan, because again, like I said, there was a gap between 2011 and 2017. And you're throwing out a third of your episodes. You'd think that you'd want to like do some kind of like refresher, re-edit special that sort of sets up what you're actually springboarding from. And so it would have been nice if they had done that. And then of course, then you run into the problem of would they actually have given that to Adult Swim, or basically just told them to go fuck themselves?
Probably the latter.
Probably was the easier option to just re-air season 1. I mean, yet again, like, people wanted it grown, but at the same time, like, someone like me, I haven't seen it. And like I said, I like those first half, but then that second half really sucks.
I mean, like, I will say, like, episode 19 onwards is terrible. But, like, 18, like 13 to 18 is actually pretty good.
I forgot. Well, there was that one episode.
I mean, according to what they say online, 17 is where the branch point happens. Like 18 onward is all non-canon.
Okay.
I forgot. Yeah, there was that one episode they wanted to throw a birthday party, and then they tell. And
oh my god, why are you such a bitch in that episode? What the fuck? Why are you mad that they're throwing you a goddamn birthday party?
Yeah, I hate that girl. I don't know her name, but she sucks. Even when she learns to mellow out, she's still bitch, in my opinion. And I just found it funny how, like, okay, Rin needs to make the birthday cake, and because they celebrate their birthday every Christmas, he makes a Christmas cake, and they're like, why are you making a Christmas cake? It was like, what's a Christmas cake? This is a birthday cake. It was like,
Okay, that's actually kind of a funny joke, but
yeah, that's episode 19. So that's basically 2 episodes into the hey, we're writing our own original stuff. So it's like that's not a great showing of what you're doing either. It's like what the fuck? Like you have to take the reins, and this is what you come up with.
I just found it like more funny, if anything. No, but oh no, and then there was like that whole thing with what's his name, the kid with the shaved head, and like he's apparently scared of Rin when like that was not the case before, and all of a sudden he's like,
I'm trying to remember.
And like he's so I don't know the right word, not jealous, like he's so like mad at Rin because he's the son of Satan that he gets possessed by like some demon and all that, and I was just like, oh, and then he's like, I'm gonna leave the school, guys, I can't do this anymore, and it's just like, what? It's like, bro, you had no issues before, and now all of us, like, yeah, it's just stuff like that. It's not great. Yeah. Point is, season 2 is coming, thank God, because yeah, that last half of season 1 sucks, and I just wanted to rant about it because it's not good. It's not good. But how does everyone else feel about Blue Exorcist season 1 as a whole, and how do y'all feel about season 2, them having season 2?
Well, I said this before, is that I probably would say, like, I like the anime when it is focusing mostly on the manga stuff. When it is moving away from that, I am less interested in that stuff. And, you know, to me, going back and watching all of it, it feels more like a novelty than anything else. If I were to sit down and watch it again, I would just stop at like 17 and then just move on to season 2.
Yeah, and then that's, you know, like I watched the rerun, and yeah, I mean the quality drop is there. Hell, you know, if it weren't for the fact that they would have obviously paid for the entire season, I would have just stopped airing it at 17 and then switched right to season 2. Mm-hmm. But you know, it's a lot of wasted content, even if the content sucks.
Yeah,
and hey, I mean, let's face it, it's not like Toonami hasn't aired worse.
Yeah. This was like low on the totem pole of like garbage that they've ran.
Yeah, like and hey, at least it's not their, like, you know, in-house produced garbage.
Yeah.
Now I don't know if Phantom's here. I mean, he said he doesn't have much to say on Blue Exorcist. But I guess we should move on, and this is our last topic for the day. And y'all, are we in our we're so back phase, or are we in our we're so back phase?
This is a good sign.
Because so I want to give some context, because okay, we're all expecting news because schedule hasn't updated. We know that common side effects and Blue Exorcist are ending, so we're like, okay, here's, because yet again every Friday they do these schedule updates, so it's like, all right guys, today's the day we're gonna get news, so let's all get our small violins, let's all get our glasses of wine to just sob at whatever is gonna get announced today. I literally kept thinking of Majora's Mask and like the moon's about to fall, like it's like that kind of atmosphere. So I'm just like, all right guys, T minus 1 hour, let's see how disappointed we're gonna be today. And then, oh my god, is that Bleach? Are we getting Bleach? We're getting Bleach back. Oh my god, y'all, we're getting Bleach back. Oh my god, I can't believe we're getting Bleach back. And that's, we never thought it would happen because of Disney. Like, how? I'm just like, we're like, so yes, Bleach 1000 Year Blood War. It's about damn time. Oh my god, I am just like,
Bleach is back where it belongs, on Adult Swim.
Well, and
ironically, it's also almost been an entire decade since Bleach first premiered on Adult Swim.
Well, and I think this is proof that, you know, the block can get the fans excited It's just a matter of finding the right thing to do it.
Yeah.
And, I mean, obviously, without a doubt, there's a ton of stuff that I'm sure if, the jackasses at the evil Orange Empire would actually play ball. I mean, there's a ton of stuff that I'm sure the Adult Swim would love to get from them to put on Toonami, and that would obviously excite the fans. So I mean, it just goes to show you continuously how detrimental that Crunchyroll, despite all their we're all about fans and we're the biggest anime outlet. Like they're just.
Meanwhile, we're cutting off access to libraries.
Yeah, they're screwing the audience. Hell, not only that, somebody calls them out on their price increases, and they get their contract as an affiliate terminated with them. So, again, evil Orange Empire, pieces of shit they are. But it's nice to see us, get something on the block that makes most of the viewing audience excited. I mean, of course, there's people that are like, oh, whatever, I don't give a shit about Bleach. But I mean, that's going to happen with any show.
Yeah, of course. And I've seen takes like, well, why would I want to watch it here when it's on Hulu? Well, first off, it's on Hulu. You know who doesn't know it's on Hulu? The people who watch Adult Swim.
Yeah, right.
And most
people. Like most people don't know that there are anime exclusive to Hulu for being real.
Yeah, and honestly, with something like Bleach, Viz has done a pretty good job marketing it, but I don't think it being only available on Hulu and Disney Plus internationally really has helped that show out in any way.
No, and I mean, you look at what happened today. Hulu drops the dub for Go-Go Loser Ranger season 2 just completely unceremoniously. Like no announcements, no nothing. And it's like, okay, yeah, Bleach can kind of elevate above that just because it's Bleach, but it's like, that's not helpful in general. So
it's literally the same situation with the Dragon Ball Daima dub.
Yeah. And getting eyes on it is critical. And yeah, the Daima dub is a fantastic example because it's like, hell, they're dumping the last 2 episodes out at the end of this week, and to me it feels like it's let's just be done with this, because the hype died on the vine for that.
It died immediately because without a television airing, nobody knows that it's out because Crunchyroll refuses to market it.
Yeah.
I'm still of the mindset that it was meant for Toonami, and somehow Crunchyroll got in the way of it. Because the timing just felt too perfect. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about Bleach. Oh my god, Bleach!
Motherfucking Bleach!
Like I mentioned a while back, I binged it forever ago because I wanted to get caught up before the 1,000-Year Blood War. And then I started watching 1,000-Year Blood War. I've only seen the sub, so I will be checking out the dub of this. I've only seen a few select clips. I mean, I know like a good chunk of the cast come back, but I also know there's a ton of recasts, and not to mention that one controversy that happened. Yeah, which but I was just like so ready for disappointment that day, and when they made that announcement, I was just like, "There's life. We have something actually. Oh my god!" I'm still taken aback if I'm being real. Sometimes I feel like it's, what it is? It is that same feeling that I got and that a lot of other people felt when they announced One Piece was returning. It's like that same energy, like when they announced like the comeback, the One Piece comeback.
I will say because Bleach is long and we don't know how much they have, we assume it's everything, but we don't know.
At the very least, I'm gonna assume they have the first 2 cores, because when they made that post, the visual they showed was the part 2 visual. So at the very least, I'm gonna assume they have up to part 2, which is still a decent chunk. It would surprise
me if Viz Media had just said we have it for everything. But obviously, I mean, it'll take over a year for them. To me, the way that it seems like this whole thing went down is that Disney, inside Japan and outside Japan, well, inside Japan, I think it is Disney Plus exclusive. But outside of Japan, because Viz Media always held the rights, because I knew for a while that they acquired the rights to Bleach: The 1,000-Year Blood War before I think they even made a public statement on it. I knew that maybe that the deal that they had is that Disney would, because they didn't have a streamer at the time, so they would made a deal with Disney to be like, we'll have it exclusive on Hulu in the United States, but we get first right of refusal for the dub at this moment in time, and probably for like the entire show's run, obviously. But either that contract is up and they're now free to do whatever they want, or that contract was never a set in stone thing.
Yeah, I mean, for something like that, it's hard to say.
Yeah,
it's just a massive shame that Jason deleted his socials, because he would have said the reason. I mean, he said why One Piece came back. He said, the stuff with Demon Slayer. If he was still on, he probably could have explained Bleach, but we'll never know.
I think they talked with Viz Media. The rights were available. Cool. We'll acquire this. I wonder if that's kind of like the show that they wanted to get earlier in the year, but it's like that kept slipping back and back.
If anything, because here's the thing is that it's a 4-part thing, but at this time there's only 3. The 4th one, I think that's supposed to be at the end this year. I could be wrong. So my assumption is that they're gonna play the first 2 parts, and then when 4 comes out and is done, then they'll probably do 3 and 4 like shortly after, or that's my assumption, at least, because at this time 1,000-Year Blood War is not done. Like, there is part 4, which God knows when that's coming out. But I mean, still, that's 24 episodes.
And the thing is that may also even be part of it, is if Viz is offering the entire thing to them and part 4 hasn't even come out, they may be looking at it long term and going, okay, if Adult Swim starts airing it in May of 2025, by the time we get to there, they'll be able to just run the entire thing, all 4 parts, in one consistent go. And that might be where the timing comes into play.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens, but I mean, I feel like Viz Media doesn't really do the whole, well, obviously they've done season breaks before, but that's only because they acquired the show and then the show ends, and then we have to wait like a few years, because they did that with like One Punch Man. Sadly, they did not get the rights to Megalobox season 2. Thank you, fucking Crunchyroll.
Viz had Megalobox season 1?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought that was like I never saw Viz in the outros to that. Huh.
It was Viz, right, Logan?
I'm pretty sure it was, because I believe they released the Blu-rays.
Yeah.
Oh, I had no idea. Oh, so then that's why we don't have. Oh, wow! It should have been obvious now that I think about it. What was I gonna say? Like, dang it! I have something that I'm gonna say, and then I immediately forget about it. Crap. Oh no, yeah, now I remember. It was like, and the thing is that, oh yeah, like, it's been a minute since it came out anyway. But here's the thing, people wanted to say the same thing with Dragon Ball Super, because when Toonami started airing Dragon Ball Super, it's already been 2 years since the show came out, and I remember a lot of people wanted to get mad when Super was trending and be like, why are you guys talking about the Goku Black stuff that aired like 2 years ago? So why are you giving a shit about it? Stop having fun. And it's like
not everybody is able to watch things online. That was the problem.
Exactly.
But also, like, the thing is with like Super is that Toei ignorantly and stupidly did not simulcast that show, so a lot of people pirated it. And it wasn't until like late 2016 that they actually put the show out legally for people to watch.
Yeah, and that's the thing, and that's going to be a similar case with Bleach. Now, we've had Bleach forever, but yet again, it was on Hulu, and Disney has shown that they do not market any single anime on that service. There is a lot of good anime on Hulu that unfortunately go under the radar because Disney does not care, and this is literally just them being contractually obligated to put those shows on there.
Yep.
It also doesn't help hope that, at least from my experience with trying to watch some of the Macross stuff that's been ending up on Hulu and Disney Plus, their subtitles are miserable because they only offer
just closed captions.
Well, they only offer SDH type subs with the descriptive text along with the subtitles, and it's like, again, I've said this on previous podcasts. Don't get me wrong, absolutely love that is a feature. Everybody should do that whenever possible. And especially if you're going to the trouble of doing all that, you can make a subtitle track that removes that. Like, it's not that hard to remove it from an existing subtitle track, but I don't understand why they don't offer that. And if Bleach or any of the other anime offerings are anything like what I've seen with the Macross offerings, that's annoying in and of itself. I mean, and granted, if you want to watch a subtitle and you go to Toonami, you're not getting the subtitled version anyway, but still, like, it's frustrating. And the thing is, again, it's something I haven't watched shows. Well, actually, I guess I did watch the Code Geass series with the dub, but I don't recall actually have a signs track. Which,
well, I remember Code Geass had a signs thing, like, because I would actually see like text, and I'm not talking Hulu text. I'm talking straight up burnt-in subs for the signs.
Well, but see, that doesn't count because you're burning it in. That's a whole different story. I'm talking about having like a completely separate subtitle track, which I know Crunchyroll offers that on some of their shows. Gundam Wish from Mercury excluded because they didn't even include that on the Blu-ray, but that's neither here nor there. But yeah, like the point is, like if you're trying to watch the dub on Hulu and it doesn't have a signs track, that can be detrimental to watching the show. And at least Adult Swim is good about getting a signs track and burning it into their video.
Well, what I'm curious about is because, yet again, these anime are exclusive to Hulu in the US. Worldwide, it's Disney Plus. I don't know how subtitled anime on the Disney Plus service, if they do the same thing.
It's exactly the same. I accessed Disney Plus in Canada when the Macross stuff hadn't launched in the US yet, and the subtitles are exactly the same. I ripped all of the subtitles from Disney Plus Canada when it was available there, and the subs that we got on Hulu are 1-to-1 identical.
Oh, so is it also like closed caption? Yeah.
Like, I started watching Yaiba on Hulu, and I'm like, this is a miserable.
Oh, dude,
this
why?
is like so.
I'm
switched
using
over
it
to
on
Netflix.
Yeah,
I was like, Netflix
Netflix
subtitles are actually like the best out of the major streamers. The major streaming services out there.
Yeah, I'd still give it to Crunchyroll just because they're.
Well, I'm talking like mainstream services.
And then Crunchyroll will look at you like, "What do you mean we're not mainstream? Let's cut off more access to libraries," or I don't know. I was trying to make a joke.
I think
let's do more anti-consumer stuff.
And I think they announced like Crunchyroll has like 17 million subscribers. There's nothing to snip at, but it's just like Netflix has like over 70 million.
Yeah.
And the only reason they have 17,000 is because they literally made themselves the only option. I mean, what is their High Dive? Like, what are you gonna watch there? Fat Elf
Need
Show?
an Abyss?
Getting back on topic, but yeah, oh my god, Bleach. Like, when that drop happened, I literally could not believe it. It was like, is this real? Like, and I wake up the next day.
Makes almost waiting 6 months for a new show worth it.
Almost. I was gonna say almost. But and the thing is that some people want to be like, "Lol, this came out forever ago," and it's like, so.
Yeah, I still haven't seen Bleach: The 1,000-Year Blood War yet.
I haven't seen the dub. I only seen the subtitle, because the thing is, whenever I watch new anime, I'm watching the sub. Like, if there is not a same day dub, I'm watching the sub, and it's only rarely if I ever want to go back and watch the dub. Like To Be Hero, I'm watching dub.
Like, my problem is that I do not sub to a service just for one thing. I need like multiple reasons. The reason why I have Hulu right now is because I got it on my Black Friday deal for like 99 cents for a year. I mean, like, why not? Even if you're dealing with ads, like, that's still a pretty goddamn good deal, $1 a month.
Yeah.
But But even still, like, there's so little for me to really consume. It's just like, by the time it's up, I'm just gonna cancel. I
mean, like,
really
watch
care.
Go Loser Ranger, bro. I mean, that's actually really good. And Heavenly Delusion. Like, see, the thing is that there's actually a bunch of good anime on Hulu.
Yeah, there's good stuff on there. Don't get me wrong. Like, I liked Undead Unluck. That was a great show, but nobody knew about it because it was Hulu. On fucking Hulu. Who the fuck watches anime on Hulu?
But it just still kind of feels surreal. It's funny because I want to say over a year ago in one of our podcasts we were discussing Toonami bringing back DBZ Kai, and I just said, "Oh, it's funny you got Goku, Luffy, and Naruto sharing the block again." And then Steve made a joke that was like, "When we're just missing Ichigo." Well, now we got Ichigo at the expense of Goku, so
it was a worthy sacrifice.
Yeah. I mean, if yet again, you massive if you're a tinfoil hat. If, say, Lazarus finishes in Daimas after that, then congrats, we got all the 4 shonen mascots back on the block. But yet again, that's a tinfoil hat right there.
That's neither here nor there, but anyway.
But it's just so freaking insane. And the thing is that, like, for the longest time, I kept shaking the idea in my head of doing a fan-made Toonami, like, Bleach 1,000 Year Blood War thing, whether it would have been a promo or something. I just kept shaking that idea in my head, but I was, like, holding off. It was like, no, I don't want to do it and then say it ends up becoming true. But then I'm thinking to myself, should I? Because it's probably not going to happen. Nah. And then what do you know? It actually happened, and I'm like, great, awesome, amazing. And yeah, Bleach, I'm so freaking happy. There's actually reason to watch the block now, because literally last podcast we were like, this is so pathetic, Jesus Christ. Like, it is.
We went from like, this is so over to
we're so over
back.
To we're so back. But yeah, Phantom, how are you feeling on the return of Bleach?
I was at work. I was smiling. My smile was as big as I thought it would be. I couldn't be any more excited for a show on the block to come back, especially since I do love me some Bleach. And just like you, Sam, too, I did watch all the original Bleach before 1,000 Year Blood War, and I have seen part 1 of the dub. Pretty good. I just haven't watched part 2 because I was either gonna wait till it's on Toonami or find the day or time and day to watch the rest of it.
But yeah, I mean, like, I don't know what else to say, but it's just like, yet again, we're just so back. It feels so good to actually be a Toonami fan, but at the same time, I'm also saying, because Silver, when this was said, he's like, there's a catch, isn't there? And I'm like, I'm predicting that this is probably going to be the biggest high we're going to ride this year, if that makes sense. Like, this is probably going to be the biggest thing we're going to get, in my opinion. Like I said, like, we keep our expectations low. I mean, like, before this announcement, we were literally just expecting triple One Piece and like another Fooly Cooly rerun or something like that. And then they blow us out of the water with this, and it's just like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Is this what it feels like to actually be happy?
The good thing is it gives us, even if it is the only like major thing we get for the rest of the year, at least assuming we get, parts 1 through 3, even if we only get parts 1 and 2, at least it's basically most of the year covered with something new. I mean, yeah, we still get One Piece new episodes, that's but I guess the problem with One Piece is it's become such a staple now that it's great to have it, but it doesn't feel, it doesn't necessarily feel exciting.
Yeah.
I mean,
and honestly,
it's still great to have it.
Yeah.
I'll
be honest, like, if the rest of the year is just Premiere, Bleach, Aniplex show, maybe another Viz Media title, and then an hour of One Piece, and then the reruns in the back, I'm perfectly happy with that.
Oh yeah.
For the love of God, Viz Media, give us Yaiba Samurai Legend.
How about this instead?
Oh wow, I I mean,
well,
hey,
don't forget. I mean, at some point, Viz is about to drop a big, fresh, hot cock on the block.
I think they might need to censor that cock a bit.
So I guess just like any final thoughts on the return of Bleach, y'all?
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Stay for a while, please.
Please stay
Stick
for
around.
a while. Don't leave us.
We saved you a seat.
And don't leave us, please. But yeah.
Never leave us.
All right. All right, and I guess that's really about it. Wow, we literally made it exactly 2 hours.
All right, we've got 30 seconds. Everybody do it quick.
So yeah, this brings us to the end of the podcast, and I guess we'll just do our plugging now. So once again, you can find me on Twitter at Samster299, Blue Sky Samster299, YouTube Samster299, where I do all the archiving, and I recently just put out finally the complete compiled version of the tier list, which is a whole 12 hours and 46 minutes long. Jesus Christ. And that is still with some cuts because I thought I got around the copyright and I guess I wasn't good enough. And I just added a few more submitted tier lists, and that was really about it.
So only like 10% longer than some of our podcasts.
But yeah. And then, you could just follow Toonami Squad Twitter, Toonami Squad Facebook, Toonami Squad Instagram, Threads, with Toonami Squad Blue Sky, expired merch at Redbubble, and also ToonamiSquad.com for all the articles and stuff that Sam and whoever else be putting out.
It's pretty much just Sam one.
Yeah.
No, I
and
take that
TikTok.
back. Daniel does post some stuff.
Oh yeah, he does those trending rundowns.
Yeah, so Daniel posts stuff too, but otherwise, yeah, Sam's our backbone of our writing team at the moment.
Oh, I mean, I guess another. I guess another thing I should plug. It's kind of old at this point, but I was a guest on Toonami Faithful's podcast, episode 502, I want to say, where we spoke about the first episode of Lazarus and common side effects and all that, and that was a fun time. So give that a listen if you want to. And I think that's about it on me. So what about you, Sam?
You can find me on Blue Sky at SC Universe. I'm currently working on a Blue Exorcist Toonami throwback. I don't know when that'll be done, but I hope to continue writing it. I just need to get off my lazy ass. But right now I'm kind of busy. Like I'm killing demons in Doom, so I don't know when I'll be able to get to that.
So the article is basically just Blue Exorcist season 1 sucks. You want to know what involves demons that doesn't suck? Doom: The Dark Ages. Go play Doom: The Dark Ages.
Yes, please go play Doom: The Dark Ages. Great game.
Is that all you got?
Yeah.
Okay. What about you, Phantom?
I'm on Blue Sky Fanstar64. Also, check us out at TS Gaming Zone on Blue Sky and Twitch, where we actually started doing some Injustice games. We finished the first one. We're actually as of this recording, almost done with Injustice 2. Yeah, short NRS games, but I really enjoy Injustice 2 more than Injustice 1. Although that said, the combat in Injustice 1 is a little more faster for my taste. But we also started playing Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition. Really good game. I've never got around to finishing it on the Wii U, but that'll probably change with the Switch version. But we started playing Metal Gear Rise and Revengeance. Really, this was a game I really wanted to play on YouTube or on Twitch that predates Toonami Squad Gaming Zone.
I mean, those nano machines, they're gonna make America great again.
Oh, I know.
How about you back that up with a source, Senator?
My source says I made it the fuck up.
Rules of nature.
And of course, we do have another game. We have a game lined up after Injustice 2, and we're also throwing Donkey Kong Bonanza in the list after the Switch 2 launches. So yeah, it's gonna be a fun summer. We're at Toonami Split Gaming Zone on Twitch.
Yeah, 3 of us in here will be Switch 2 owners.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Congratulations.
And then
wow, it smelled like broken here. I see how it is. Don't want to pay $800. Don't want to pay $800 with your tariffs and all that. And like a true American.
I just want to go to bed.
And I was just gonna say I have poor impulse control is all.
I mean, so do I, but I'm also like I'm broke most of the time. I don't need this thing.
And of course,
not right now. Maybe like in a year or so when there's like a new 3D Mario game out. But
and you're gonna pay $100 with your hard-earned American money. Damn it! I'm kidding. I'm kidding mostly.
And obviously, I am writing something, but it's something I'm working on personally. So I don't know if this will see the light of day, but we'll see.
All right,
Logan,
where can we find you?
At Schmollis1 on Twitter, Schmollis on Blue Sky, and I think those are the only socials I actually ever bothered to use. I'll be at Anime Expo in July and Otakon in August. So if you're
I'm sorry I can't make it this time. I'm so
traitor.
How dare you?
Blame my sister. No, I'm kidding, mostly. Oh, is that it?
I think that's it, yeah.
Okay. Alright, well, this has been another episode of Toonami Squad Podcast Sessions. We will see you all hopefully soonish and not wait another 2 months, hopefully. But yeah, y'all take care. Y'all have a good night and see ya.
Later.
Later.